Hey guys, William Murphy here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Luke's Mini. In today's episode, I'm going to have a slight change of course. So, let's get into it.
I know you don't love me like you say you do.
So just been to the shop and picked up this brushable seam sealer. So in the last episode I managed to weld in the floors, and this is one of the things that I didn't quite get around to doing because I ran out of the seam sealer. So today, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to brush on that seam sealer into the inside of the floor. Once the floor is all done and it's dried, I can apply some paint. Then I'm going to put the rear subframe in and just try to get it back on its wheels. Now the reason is, I might as well show you rather than trying to explain. This is obviously the rear floor, and I need to weld in this patch where I've marked up. Now the only issue is here, this is actually much higher than this. And the reason is that this is where I've been jacking the floor up since I started this job. So it's kind of lifted things up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is get it back on its wheels, lower this down, flatten it off, cut the old panel out, weld the new panel in. I'm doing that because obviously I want to have this new fresh metal in. But what I don't want to do is weld it in place and it will be lumpy, bumpy and raised. And when I come to sort of flatten the floor out, the welds break, etc. And it obviously doesn't go to plan. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I obviously want to get this front section done first. Once that front section's done, then I can then move on to this bit. So over the back, I've got the subframe. And the subframe's then going to get the bushes removed. The actual trunnions, or the bush holders, are going to get painted. I'm going to do them like a black hammerite, so satin, or no, gloss black hammerite. The bushes can get pushed back in them. I can then mount it up. With that all painted, the new bushes in place, I can then put it onto the car. I can then mount the radius arms, the brake pipes, the handbrake cables, shock absorbers. Everything will get put back on. And then yeah, that's the plan of action. As I say, it's taken a little bit longer to get to this point than I was hoping, but I've got a plan in my head of how I'm going to work it. So with the car on the floor, yes, straighten that floor out, weld the new patch in, and then once that's done, I could jack the floor back up, or jack the car back up, and then put on this outer seal. So the paint's all dried, and the panel can then get put on. What I might do, just to keep it out of the way, is clamp it on the front or the back and the front, and at least then it'll be in place and not getting damaged, because the last thing I want to do is get this panel damaged after I've gone to the effort of cutting it, drilling it, getting it all prepped ready to be fitted. So let's do that first, then the floor. Come on, let's do it. Okay, so I've had a bit of a tidy up. You can now get access down that side without having to step in a load of stuff. Around the front, got a bit of a work area, and yeah, just tried having a bit of a tidy up. As soon as this mini's done, this lot is getting sorted. That is priority number one, is getting all this stuff here sorted, organised, some bits sold, some bits stored, some bits ready for restoring and whatnot. I mean, there's engines galore and all sorts on there, but that's coming later. So the floor has now been seam sealed. Next up is taking off these parts here. Now I already cleaned them up before I installed it onto the car for the test fit. So it's a 5/8 socket or 5/8 spanner, and just going to remove them. Pretty straightforward. I fit them pretty loosely before. There you go. So these bits here are going to get cleaned up a little bit more and then painted. Now the subframe itself came already a nice sort of coat on it, so I'm not going to touch the subframe, but what I'm just going to make sure I do is before it gets mounted up, I'm going to wax oil all inside the crevices, tape them off with the aluminium tape I've got. Just make sure that all the inside here is all sort of wax oil as well, so anywhere water can possibly sit will be protected, and hopefully we'll have no issues going forward with rust and stuff. So that's the plan. Just got to get the 4 of those off and then get them painted. Okay, so this is the bush that I was originally in there, and I did the test fitting with these because the wrong bushes were sent out. And these are the replacements. So they're going to fit on there, like so. Now the big section goes against the subframe, not the other way. And the reason is that if that was to come loose, the subframe will move around. With that there, the subframe has nowhere to sort of go. And if it came loose, it's up against the metalwork anyway. So that's that. I've got the 2 bushes there. This one and this one can get safely filed in that bin. Well, okay, so the trunnions and the radius arm brackets, along with the passenger side radius arm, this is the side I did the radius arm rebuild on, that's all painted up. I'm using this Director Metal Smooth Black Hammerite, and it's really, really good. So I'm going to leave these to dry. Once they're done, I can then insert the trunnion pins, the bushes, everything back on. This side's got to be cleaned up, painted, the brakes rebuilt, and yeah, super excited how this is going so far. I will come back in later on and get some more done, but for now, that's me done. So it's been a pretty wild few days. Managed to get loads of stuff done, and I'm just prepping the subframe. Bugger. I've not painted the rear. So tonight, when the kids were in bed, I'm going to go back out to the garage and I'm going to paint underneath the rear of the boot floor and the heel board, so that when the stuff's painted for the subframe and I get it mounted up, I can fit it to the car. That's annoying. Damn. And then I decided that I wasn't going to come into the garage. I would take my time today to, well, the following day, which was now today, to come in and sort some stuff out. It hasn't quite happened yet. It's now the end of the day. But the stuff is now, I painted, is all dried. So what I need to do is take these front trunnions, take them off and try and mount them to the back. So where on the heel board, I sort of C-molded the top around the side. I want to make sure there's no interference with, so that basically the back of this, the flat section, can go flat against the heel board. With that done, then I can then paint it. I can then mount these mounts to the subframe, and then I can crack on and continue with this build. I'm a bit annoyed that I sort of just forgot about that, and I was really hoping it would be a nice straightforward come in, subframe on, away you go, but it's not going to happen. So this evening I've got like half an hour in here before I've got to go back and help out with the family and stuff. Chop these down, fit them up, make sure they're going to fit. If they do, fantastic. If they don't, a little bit of grinding to try and get that to fit better, and then we can move on. Let's get into it. Right, good news. The mount's going to fit. So just fit these bolts in for now. I've seam sealed off the edge. That's now actually dry. It dries in like literally seconds. So that's now ready to be painted. The only thing I've just spotted is the back of the wheel arch. This little bit suspecty. So I'm going to clean up the whole wheel arch because I want to paint it anyway. And I just want to make sure that that is the only thing that I'm going to have to repair. What I don't want to do is repair that bit, and then maybe over here or over here or something, there's another bit that's you know, really bad. So a bit more to do, but I think it'd be the best thing to do is just to make sure it's done properly once, and rather than having to come back and or go elsewhere to get work done. So let's see how we get on. Can you guess the original colour of the car? In here, you can see that it's not gone so well. So what I'm going to try and do is cut across here and replace this bit of metal, just to make sure it's all new and fresh. And obviously I don't want that rust to continue growing, so I need to chop it out. I'm hoping that behind here is some sort of lip to weld it to. You can see like there's a flat section there. I'm hoping that is the flat of the boot floor. Okay, so the driver's side wheel arch, this stuff's really tough to get off, so I'm going to just leave it like that really. Paint over the top of it. I'm going to seam seal the join, and then come over here. Unfortunately, there's another hole. It has been repaired previously, but my guess is very much the same as the other side, is that the rot hasn't actually been cut out, and it's still just rotted from the underneath. So the repair plate is here, and the rust holes must be like here, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And yeah, a bigger patch is required. So I'm going to cut out the old stuff and weld something new in. Fun. I didn't want to bore you with more welding, so I've just got and undone it. So, oh, lighting's terrible on it. I blew a fuse whilst I was welding. But anyway, I've cut out the panel, I welded in the new one, and I've just seam sealed it all. It's all seam sealed inside as well. I haven't managed to clean up that as well, but you're not going to see it because it's got a nice boot board. But it's solid. There's no gaps. Kind of just blew through a little bit here, so I welded it up, and I just put some seam seal on here as well. And then I'm going to go through, just give it a slight dusting of paint. But yeah, next step, apply the underseal. So what I might do is just shake this up, get across the other side, and get started. Right, let's come on in. I've just spent the last few minutes cleaning the floor because I put some bubble wrap down, but I didn't really actually do a lot. So all these darker patches here are all bits of paint really. So I've cleaned up most of it. Anyway, the floor is looking pretty good, if I say so myself. So it's all undersealed, wax oiled, and it's all ready for the subframe pretty much to be bolted in. So it's still a bit wet, but I need to crack on. So I'm going to get the subframe underneath, and I'm going to try my best to fit it without causing any rubs or anything to the paint. And I should hopefully achieve that pretty easily. Nothing in the way, so I've cleared quite a bit of space, and get the subframe down, get it in position, and get the fronts up. Because the mounts are loose, they can pivot quite easily. So you should be able to lift the front up, get the bolts in place, tighten them down to some extent, and then tilt the back up to be able to fit to the rear. So let's get on with it. Okay, so that's the subframe mounts now fitted. The subframe then can get mounted up. These bolts, or these nuts, could then get tightened down once I've sort of made sure they're aligned. Now I've left them pretty loose because when I did the test fitting, I had to try and manipulate them into the right position. And the ones at the front were very, very stiff. So obviously that's far too loose, but I can tighten that down a little bit. So the idea is that I can fit them in, but I can pivot them and try and maybe mount the fronts, pivot the rear up, mount the rears, and then we're done. A very proud moment today. So I think I'm going to leave this episode here because I originally set out to get to this point. I've had a few little hiccups along the way, but yes, the subframe is in. So it's mounted up, everything's bolted down, everything aligns great. Wheel arches are all painted and prepped. Well, that's it now for the wheel arches. I managed to ever so slightly catch this side, just up here. So I'm just going to go over and give that a bit of a done. But yeah, super happy with that result. So the subframe is now fitted. Next point of call is to seal up these holes, and yeah, get the thing on its wheels again. So in the next episode, radius arms are going on. Brake pipes probably leaving a little bit later on. Fuel pump as well, because I'm going to cut that floor out and they run along there. So yeah, next episode, radius arms on, handbrake cables on, flexi hoses in place, ready to rock and roll. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the content so far, click that thumbs up button, comment down below, and if you can and haven't done so already, please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. really means a lot to me, and it's, as I say, it's a really proud moment just now. So gonna get this little baby back on the road. Yes. See you next time.